Business opportunity, Tinder for B2B businesses.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of opportunities.
Specifically say, how do you scrape? Because people don't know exactly how scraping works. How did you do it? Because I know people will vibe code it and they will not be able to web scrape with Claude well. My grandma sent me lately like Facebook posts on like, obviously I generated picture of like a African kid. First of all, I'm not gonna tell her that it's actually AI. I want my grandma to not be stressed. Or you know what your marketing distribution is? Newspaper ads. Hi, this is Adrian, and I'm a bootstrap founder.
Hi, this is Adrian. I'm a VC-backed founder.
And this is Two Adrians Walked into a Startup. Adrian, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, Adrian.
So we haven't recorded for a while, and the reason is quite easy. We are both busy startup founders, and when you're busy, you know, you see so much hype, right?
Yeah,
there's so much hype about AI, right? Like OpenAI, all of that's like, oh, if you don't use these 5 prompts, you're only using 10% of ChatGPT, right? Also, it's quite cool to start new wars, right? Like not one, we got 2 now.
Yeah.
Let's see, maybe we could do 3, well, 3. So a lot of things are going on. And today, since it's a quite hype topic for the last months, it's like every day I open Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays, it's just AI, like, bro, like, just give me something else except AI. So, at least from the business perspective, when starting a company, bootstrap or VC, etc., a lot of things have changed. And I want to address those things. So, first of all, should you use OpenAI or Claude for your business?
Of course, you should use depending on your use case. For example, in my experience, I used foundational models regarding its OpenAI, Claude, Anthropic, or whatever model at the beginning, because at the beginning you need to build your prototype as fast as possible, iterate, get feedback from the user, understand what works, what doesn't work, so you don't have enough time to build your own model. And most probably you don't have enough data to build your own model to be good enough. So I recommend always to start with an API. Of course, almost in every situation. Probably will be specific use cases when you can start with fine-tune if you already have enough data or something like that. But definitely start with a foundational model, use their API, build on top of that, get as fast as possible feedback.
But I mean, maybe my question was very vague and I think I started horribly. But the thing is, like, one is like using Claude or ChatGPT to build the product. Right?
Yeah.
Like the coding part, maybe doing like market research, like, hey, you know, what keyword would fit if I want to do an SEO strategy, or like, hey, can you find me some influence so we can do some, some promotion or affiliate marketing, right? Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're not referring to that. It's more about when you're using
building
AI
the
as part
product
of your product.
Yeah, of
part
course.
of the product, not building, right?
Yeah, part of the product. Your product, it's AI product.
It uses like when people pay you, you have somewhere in whatever your problem you're solving some API, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, in other case, definitely you have to start to use AI. You have to start to use AI to understand how to do fast or better market. We have to start to use AI to understand what to build or not.
I'm going to push you back on that one. So, first of all, for the listeners, I would say I'm an AI researcher. Now, the question is if I'm like Anthropic, like elite level researcher, I'm more like, you know, your backdoor mechanic AI researcher. So I know to do research. I read AI papers. I can write AI models. I build like, you know, clean voice. A lot of the algorithms are in-house. So it's not like we're using ChatGPT or anything like that. And I have very strong opinions on this topic. So because I've used, of course, I use Chat, I use Codex, I use Claude. I'm spending like 500 euros for all of these tools just to see if I can get a bit more value. But, you know, that's not guaranteed, but I do it because if I get a bit of extra value, it's worth it for me. Now, here's my pushback to the topic. You said like make market research. Here's the thing. I've tried to experiment, just out of curiosity, like, oh, hey, ChatGPT. I have ChatGPT Pro, by the way, which is like, the $200. So I give ChatGPT Pro a query and he thought about like 50 minutes long, right? So that's a lot of thinking. I don't even think about that too much. So, and the question was like, look, this is the company. These are the competitors, what keywords, what should we build, etc. And the response was kind of generic, to be honest. And the reason why I say it's generic, it wasn't bad, like what you'd recommended, like the marketing approach. But why I say it's like slightly generic is because these models do not know so much about the market that you might know, which sounds kind of ridiculous to think like, oh, the deeper you understand the problem, the more you may know actually about the problem. And another thing is like when you want to look about, you want to build your product, fundamentals are the same. Just so, for example, let's say, I don't know, you're going to build an app which will check, I don't know, let's say count calories.
Yeah.
But count calories for vegans. I don't know, but if there's a market for that specifically.
Specific niche.
So let's say, it's a special calorie app which helps them to like, how to add more protein because you're vegan and it's hard to find protein terms. So like it will recommend you how to improve your diet without doing many changes. Okay, good. I invent an idea. How do you find validation for that? Of course, you can talk with people, right? Like, for example, here I'm going to take this here. You see like Eric's Rice, right? I mean, this is a different book from him, but the point is, you can do lean startup methodology, right? Try to validate, use the mom test, etc. to get a market. But my criticism, but the problem is that, AI cannot do all of those stuff. So for example, SEO, Ahrefs, SEMrush, all of those tools which you can use for keyword research, the AI models don't have access to them, for now at least. So, checking if people, if they're like, two people are searching for, vegan calorie counter, it's not worth building it. And if you ask ChatGPT, it will say, you know what? There's a potential there. I'm telling you because I did it. So I don't know, actually.
And to solve this problem, what I used, and works really well, was to connect the Ahrefs or SEMrush through Claude, in our case, through MCP. So basically to have access direct to real data and give the model extra context. And I think this will make a significant difference because the model will not respond in a generic way. The model will have specific data to respond you to a specific problem. And this, I think, is the way to solve this issue.
I agree here, and good that you recommend that. And I think also for our listeners, if you're like starting a business, right, and like you're like, OpenClaw will make you $10,000 per month, it will run your business automated. It might, if you have the processes, you build already product, etc. But do not skip these essential steps because it hasn't changed. It's still the same thing. And of course, there are more modern solutions. You don't need, like, as you said, just using an SCP connector for that.
Yeah.
And then you can build something on that. So maybe we should, so we agreed, okay, you should use ChatGPT, Claude, etc. And you gave a nice insight, right? Use MCP. What else have you observed which could be helpful for a founder, independent if they're bootstrap or VC backed?
Helpful in what way? From what perspective?
Because, for example, I said ChatGPT didn't really give me good marketing ideas, or like it was a bit generic because it didn't have, like, for example, context for SEO, which Ahrefs had. What else have you observed which was useful for you?
Yeah. In almost every scenario, giving the right context to the model help me to get fast to the output that I need. So in case of SEO, of course, MCP from Ahrefs or SEMrush. In other cases was, for example, I have a situation when I try to identify which customer segment from my database, it's one that I have to pursue in order to get more subscribers. And I extract all the data from the Stripe and the database. I extract the analytics like payments, value of the payments, average value per customer, average hours consumed in each month. So basically more and more context. And I use all this information, feed it into a foundational model to extract more insightful data.
I can share that I did something similar, and I think specifically for data analysis, right? I think it's a great tool because, of course, yeah, you can maybe, if you're like a tech person, you can for sure do like SQL statements, figure out, do this analysis. But in this case, if you give all the context and you already have a concrete question like you have, right?
Yeah.
Or questions, it can do that for you, and you can move faster because you can do like this data-driven business basically, right? Where
Yeah.
And I think it's for sure valuable. Now, so okay, let's say you build a product, doesn't matter. Let's say the vegan calorie counter app. We use ChatGPT because it can figure out how to give, like we will maybe we build the app, right, with Claude code or whatever, and the AI feature is that based on what the person is logging, we can then ask ChatGPT, like, what could we change the recipe, or what could we do in what they've eaten? So next time if they eat that, with the small change, they significantly increase the amount of protein for their goals.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's one way we can see it. When do you move to, like, I don't know, building your own model?
I think the point when you have to think about building your in-house model, it is the point when you have enough specific data. For example, your AI vegan calorie tracker. Okay, if you have, I don't know, probably 1 million users that interact with your app almost every day, probably you have enough data points to create a specific model better than foundational models. But here is the catch that I'm always thinking about. What will happen in the next 6 months, for example, with the next release of the next foundational model? Because exists a certain probability that the next generation of the model to be good enough that it's your current fine-tuned models with your property data. So basically, it's a timeline to understand where to choose to fine-tune your model and when to pursue with a general foundational model. And I think the better the private or the hard to acquire the data is, the more chance to have a good proprietary model you will have. So if your data it's hard to obtain, so probably you will have a good defensibility on the long way.
So the logic here in the context again of the vegan calorie app. Okay, you have users, you're interacting with the tool, you know kind of what they're eating, what they're consuming.
What are their habits, what they like or doesn't like.
When they eat, etc., which maybe ChatGPT doesn't really know when, etc. And that extra information would make you build a better recommender system, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, and I think there's something a lot of founders fear, is that with every foundational shift, let's say of these new models, it's always the question is that why should they use your app and not just use ChatGPT? And the reason why I'm saying this is, like, okay, we are in a bubble where, tech people use more of these tools, and the fear is maybe bigger than the reality because the adoption is not so high. So if you're like, I know, building something for gardeners, some AI app for gardeners, and they maybe not know so much ChatGPT, right? So like non-tech people are slower to move, like they're not going to install Claude code. There's no way.
Definitely.
Yeah. Exactly. They're even not Claude. They maybe know the AI from Google Gemini, and that's it, right? Gemini, whatever.
It's probably the most advanced model that they use.
Exactly. And they're like amazing. But every foundational shift of these models basically could make your business redundant. Why would I bother using your app and if I can just use ChatGPT or whatever? It's like Grok, Gemini, like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What would you say to that founder?
Well, here, I think the all things go to how you can market and distribution your app, and how you can make the user to feel using your app, feel in a way to understand the user, get more value from using your app than using a specific general model or whatever. So basically, I think have a taste in what are you building will make a difference in helping the people to choose, helping the founders to go to the users, and users choose their application or their model, comparing with whatever.
I'll give you a concrete example because this sounds very abstract. So I understand exactly what you mean. So I'm going to make it more tangible. So let's say, so the advantage is if you build your own app, etc., you understand the process, right? You understand the steps which the person does in order to solve their problem.
Yeah.
So if you're basically in your calorie app, right, you take a picture and you estimate the calories, right? And then it will tell you like, oh, you know, the person after they cooked or they eat something, like they will get suggestion maybe when they eat it or immediately, or maybe like, oh, during the day, like, oh, I know this is kind of your time when you're cooking. Let me suggest you something. ChatGPT can do that for you, but because you are making it seamless for their particular experience, they might not move away just because of the convenience of it. But this still doesn't guarantee, I think, because I'm taking your words, my understanding is that if that's not guaranteed to defend your product, and the reason is because, well, okay, foundation models are getting better, etc., blah blah blah, and people are going to use them more, right? There's a incentive of these companies to get as many people using those things, so there will be more people know how to use these tools, and then eventually, like, isn't ChatGPT the lowest friction than your app eventually? So I'm not sure how that defensibility is even a real thing here.
Yeah, of course, the ChatGPT will be the lowest friction application point or whatever, because they are natively integrated in their day-to-day habits. They probably ask ChatGPT every time they have questions. They are forming a habit using ChatGPT. But here, what I think is probably the user that are really passionate or really interested about or in a subject like vegan nutrition, I still think they will prefer something specialized for their needs instead of generic tools, regarding the fact that they'll probably use a generic tool for each other task they have day to day.
Yeah, understandable. So if I would distill it in maybe in a short sentence, basically, okay, good. Maybe it's equally convenient, but maybe because it's so integrated in the workflow, it doesn't really matter. The only thing, it cannot be too expensive, because if you cannot do value price pricing. I know that's not quite value-based pricing. Thank you very much. And but based on that, you're gonna have to do more like something a bit more lower. So you're gonna have to eat your margins because of that, because we're still competing with a somewhat convenient but not perfectly convenient solution.
Yeah, but probably if you build just a simple solution built on top of, I don't know, foundational models, probably the value that you add, it's lower. So you have to understand this point, and you have to understand probably this is not the idea that will give you $1 million or something like that. But yeah, maybe depends on how aggressive is your marketing ads or something like that.
Let's switch topics and talk about business process automation. So let's say maybe some founder already has some idea, already validated, has some customers, etc. How do they bring more AI within the internal processes of their company? Now I can share you my setup, and maybe we
Please.
can just both we share, because I think that's the most value. So saying, oh, you could do this, etc., or like, oh, the possibilities are infinite. Let's just talk about what we could
Show me
do.
what you did.
Yeah. So first automation I have is I have a tool that vibe coded with a bit of local LLM, which reads my emails, my business emails, and then sorts out my invoices for accounting for bookkeeping every month. So it finds them, identifies them, compares with the bank statement, renames the file, make it very easy for my accountant to work with this file. The second thing which I have is there are certain emails which, if they're detected, it triggers an event where I get like a special notification on my phone, because I get my muted notifications, and those goes pass through. Because there's no option on iPhone to like say which I don't. There's no option for my phone, at least. Maybe I don't know, but it does this, and it shows me something, right? I have also I coded a tool, I know, in one day, for dealing with refunds. So basically, people complain, right? It can be my assistant. This could be an AI if you want, but I have a real person reading those messages. So actually, what I have a chatbot. And most people don't like dealing with bots. So like after, like, no, give me a real person, it will give you a real person afterwards, right? But until the person responds, it will be a delayed, right? And when it deals with the real person, that's like emotional refund. And then my assistant like, oh, we need this person wants to refund. She clicks a button. I get notification on my phone, and I check, approve it or not, or whatever. Because it's not trivial. It's not like, oh, I want complete refund. Maybe they're just like, I didn't like this upload, so can you just refund me the credits of that, or something, whatever it might be. And with this, I have this flexible system, a software. So you could say some fancy CRM with some extra functionality, you could say, and doing that. I also do like use AI to automate like DevOps a bit. So it's, again, vibe coded some stuff which does some, let's say, LLM checks here and there, specifically like, oh, the task queue is very full, do something. And if it cannot solve it by itself, again, call Adrian,
Yes.
Because there's other tools which can do this, etc. But sometimes some LLM call helps, like where it's like, it's not the if statement, it's a bit more like, I don't know, man. It's like, could be anything. So LLM can decide on that for those small decisions which are vague. That's actually was very helpful. I had a disaster 2 days ago. ClearVoice was not offline, everything was running, but it was big congestion on the task queue, and I understood why, because like there were barely any uploads, and like, why is it like so much delay on processing customers' files? And then I checked it was not clear, but you cannot easily detect with if statement that particular issue. You just have to see. So some things you could say everything could be written by code, like using AI to write internal tools, right, for dealing for different processes. So things which I do manually, and I just try to, okay, can I vibe code this? Can I automate this process? So everything which I automate my business, maybe I miss one or two things, but it's more like I do this manually. I hate it. Let me try to see how far I can get with AI to automate this.
I have a similar experience. I'm trying to automate the things that I hate doing manually. From my perspective, it's a bit different from your, because I also have people in my team and I can delegate.
You have more people than my team.
So
the VC versus bootstrapper.
I can delegate more of my tasks to the people, but the main and the most important task that it's still in my responsibility, it's to acquire customer and reach out to the potential customer. So basically sell more. And what I'm doing here, it's quite simple. I use Sales Navigator because
LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Yeah. So because we are selling B2B, so basically everyone in the B2B industry, it's on LinkedIn. But the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it's really, really bad and overall LinkedIn, it's a bad experience.
Business opportunity, Tinder for B2B businesses.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn, and I have multiple ideas to build on top of LinkedIn. It's a huge opportunity there, but this is another subject. And what I'm doing, it's quite of simple. I have few categories of potential customers, meaning ICP, ideal customer profile, and specific keywords to search for those companies. So I'm search those companies using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and this is the first part. But you will have 100, 200, 300 results. It's a huge amount. And for each account, each company, you will have probably 2-3 person that you have to contact in those company. And what I did was I scrape all the results for my queries.
But specifically say, how do you scrape? Because people don't know exactly how scraping works. So maybe, okay, extract data from a website, but how did you do it? Because I know people will vibe code it and they will not be able to web scrape with Claude well. Okay. Can you break it down for them?
Yeah, I'm using Epify. Epify, it's a marketplace with a lot of scrapers. Pretty good scrapers.
We're not sponsored by Epify, just to be clear, okay?
But we are open to sponsorship. Okay, so yeah, I'm using Epify Marketplace. I try different APIs from their marketplace. I choose the one that feeds, match my needs. So I connect this API to the query. So I run the process. I'm using N8N to automate the entire process. So I scrape this query, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I scrape for each company in the result the entire list of employee for the company, and I scrape the website. So with all these results, I use Claude Sonnet 4.6 to classify. Okay, it's good for my ICP. Okay, from this list of people at this company, which one I should contact. So basically, at the end of the process, I have a list with company 1, 2, 3, and for each company, 1 or 2 or 3 people that I have to connect. And after that, I send automatically connection request using another automation tool. And this is my entire research process.
So if I go to X, Twitter, whatever, you see people building like, oh, I have automated sales, blah, 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 automatic outreach. The thing is, did you first did this process manually? Like, oh, how you what you want, you did sales manually, and then you try to automate your current sales process. It's not like, oh, I want to now do this, right? Like,
no. First of all, I did this process manually for I don't know, a few weeks to understand each possible scenario, edge case, or how exactly I have to ask from this automation.
So it's still old school business understanding was there and then was automating them.
Yeah, I automate just in the point when the all things was the same, and I hate doing again and again
the same thing over time.
Yeah.
So I have a same opinion, like I approach problems the same way, and I'm not sure if it's still valid, but at least I think it's still better than like let AI do everything, because the thing is like AI maybe will figure out some things which you didn't thought of, right? I think there definitely might be a case, but because you don't have understanding of it, you will never build a intuition as a business owner. Yeah. Is that even in the future? I have no clue. We may be one AI model away from that. Yeah. But if you want to feel like at least you're in control of your business a bit, then making and understanding the entrepreneurial, let's say, workload and how it works, then I think do it yourself first, and then you automate. Don't automate and then do it, right? So yeah, that's maybe something we will both share, and I think it's not like promoted. I mean, it sounds logical, but I at least I feel like in the Twitter bubble that's not normal. No, you have to open Claude, bro. Like open Claude, Hermes agents that, which are not bad, but you get it, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, no, I don't even have a nice segue. I'm just gonna switch topic. So I'm gonna go back actually to the defendable businesses, right? And I have a theory how to make your business more defendable.
Yeah.
So it's called making your product multimodal. So if you use multiple modalities for your particular problem, let's say video or image, maybe audio with some text, some metadata, specific knowledge, specific context of your domain knowledge, right? Yeah. The more you can interconnect those things, and you're solving a problem like a business problem. So there's like a process where a customer needs to go through in order to achieve, let's say, their goals, objectives. I think that's quite defendable. And you can even maybe fine tune models to improve, because those foundation models are good, but if you but like, for example, let's say transcription. I just want to give one example. There is this model called Gamma 4, right? Which is basically how these new foundational models, they are multimodal. So they have different encoders to encode different modalities, text, audio, etc. They all pass, they create tokens which pass through the same transformers, and then they can output maybe text or those same modalities, like decoders for, I know, video, for example. So my theory is that if you want to do one problem well, it's better if you have a specialized model. So for example, transcription, yeah, Gamma could maybe do some transcription, but it's actually more captioning and not very precise transcription of your content. If you have like some video analysis, you can have general like video analysis with a foundation model. But if you actually want to like get the, I don't know, track objects and maybe try to maybe take from image to 3D, etc., those are separate models, right? They have, Gaussian splatting. That's one thing where you can from an image get like a 3D view. That's its own model. So the more like different models you can use, and there can be open source or commercial, it doesn't really matter in this art context, where you combine various stuff in order to solve a problem. I think that's very defendable. I think for how long, I don't know, but more defendable than some ChatGPT wrapper, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I guess what we can do is help our audiences to get some ideas for that. So this one I have a bit of knowledge from, which I'm going to share. So what would be like a multimodal business? I'll start with B2C a bit, because these are more easy to understand. Let's say you play a certain sport. I know, golf. Maybe you like, I know, boxing, kickboxing, MMA. Maybe you like to play paddleball. Whatever it is, you can make an AI model which helps you to improve your form. So let's take about golf. So I did some keyword research and analysis of the golf market. Just be clear, I do not play golf, but I know a lot about golf. So there's like these setups at home where you can have like some laser camera thing and like big net, etc. Like there are a lot of home setups. Let's say, I wouldn't call them golf simulators, but definitely like trackers. And the minimum, they cost 500 euros, the cheapest. And it takes a lot of space, and it's an effort to set it up to, I don't know, 30,000 or more for these like professional golf simulators where you can really see how well you swing. And what you could do is just make an app where like, okay, put it on your, how is the thing you put on the camera? You have a camera and it's sitting on a tripod. Yeah.
Nice.
So you put it on a tripod, right? And you can use AI models to see, okay, track, the limbs, how they're moving. With the frames, you can identify the speed, you can see the slope. So all the information required to like, hey, is that swing good or not? That can be done with a camera. And these are various models combined. And then if you have the results where like you want tail feedback, then there can be an LLM. So given this information, tell this person in his language, because I know you can make it multimodal, right? Maybe the person is French, maybe the person is Italiano, right? Making his language, maybe also his terms he understand, Like, oh, the slope wasn't so good. No, like, bro, just move your hips more. Like, depends also how they understand. And yeah, that's a product. And I checked, and there's some, and they're very shitty. They're not amazing. And there's about like 10,000. I don't know what keyword. I don't have information anymore now, but there's one keyword for golfing where it's like 10,000 searches per month, which is a lot for golfing. And also, you can find revenue for some of those apps, and we're talking about like 100, 200K. So these are small businesses which may, even if you're not the experts, you can go on Hugging Face, find some models, right? And even ask ChatGPT, what are AI models which could do this particular problem, this tiny problem? Break down your use case. So in our case, estimate the speed based on identify where the golf club is, identify the body, so you have that information, and then you can build this app. And could be mostly vibe coded, but you need to get the right models and play around with it.
But what stopped you to build this idea?
I'm busy with Clean Voice, bro. I'm trying to build the best audio enhancer in the world. You know what happened? I feel so frustrated. On one hand, I guess testimonials. They tell it's better than Adobe Podcast, the audio. And I know it's sometimes better. Like sometimes Adobe Podcast sucks and Clean Voice is amazing. But the thing is, it's not 100% consistent. So it's like, let's say 100% is the perfect audio you can ever have. Clean Voice, it's like 99% perfect. And 1% of the time, it fails catastrophically or it has some weird artifacts. And I've been working, I have a solution. It's just not scalable. And I'm like, it's very hard to make state-of-the-art AI research on a budget. But I'm spending I think last month I spent like 15K, I think, on GPU training, etc. Yeah.
That's huge. It's a booster.
Well, thank you. That's what she said. So for sure, it's a lot of effort. I'm getting close there. It's just, I'm not OpenAI where I can do 100 experiments in time. I can do a handful of them. But I understand the problem, and maybe soon I will have the perfect audio enhancer in the world. But yeah, I am busy because I want to build my own foundation model, which I think is more defensible than this golfing. So if you build your own foundation model, that's not so bad, actually. I think as a business perspective. But I know realistically, building foundation model is not for everybody. You need to be an AI researcher to a certain extent, or have access to some data which nobody has. So I don't know, let's say you work at Bloomberg. Well, I mean, you just find some architecture which kind of makes sense and just train it on your proprietary data. That's all it is, right? But in my case, I mean, I have, of course, my own data sets. I've been recording in studios with people, so I have some proprietary data. But I mean, it's easier to create that data. Like everybody, I mean, not everybody, but it's more effort to go to studio to bring people to record, get their consent, pay them, etc. But if you have Bloomberg data, I mean, that's good money, right? Yeah. So that's the idea. But okay, for most people, you don't need to do a foundational business model. But maybe if you're VC backed, you're also a foundational model. You're the best Romanian speech text in the world. Not even 11 Labs can beat you. I saw that research paper. You're like, Microsoft, none of them can beat you, bro.
Yeah. So basically, we built our own model for the Romania, but it was a tedious process during, I don't know, I think we worked on the model almost 4 years to build, iterate. We have 8th generation of our current model. And it was a lot of iteration, a lot of money, a lot of people that label our data. So it's huge amount of work building a model. And this model was just for one language, Romania. Imagine what resources do you need to build entire stack.
But if you make another language, it would be easier because you went through the process of doing one. So you cannot be, actually the second time it will be easier.
Yeah, the second time it will be easier because you already have the process.
Yes.
You already understand exactly what steps we have to do it. But still getting the data, getting the really not easy accessible data. For example, what makes our model really good for Romania is because we have partnership with different data providers, part of our customers. We have data from media industry, we have data from call center, phone calls, which is really a private type of data. We have data from medical industry. So we have different categories of data that are not easy to find on the web or Hugging Face public dataset or whatever. So obtaining this type of data, I think it's probably one of the most important part of building a good foundational model, because the architecture of the model, it's public. Everyone can build, audio model with transformers, or in our case, we have to back popular research from Facebook.
And you can iterate on that a bit for sure. Like there's a lot of ways to iterate it, but it's going to be marginal gains, right? Most of the gains, initial gains, like your version 1, is just take whatever is like a decent open source model or architecture. There's no pre-trained model, right? You just to write your own thing and put your data, and that's enough for version 1 to get out the market. And then, of course, you, as you said, 8 iterations, so you build more on top of that.
Definitely. So it wasn't easy. And still it's not easy to build from scratch, but it's easier now than 6 years ago. Because 6 years ago, when we started to build the model, the public data sets for Romanian language almost doesn't exist.
Which Facebook, by the way, had one in the beginning. There were some Romanian researchers, by the way, in Meta. I don't know, they kind of disappeared. But I was, there were. I'm just small diversion on this topic. My expertise is actually natural language processing, so
you understand better.
I'm very nerdy about this talk. Audio became later on my expertise, but. There were actually a lot of data sets with Romanian and translating Romanian to French, Romanian to whatever. And even like early 2000s, there are a lot of them. And then somehow like corruption and other stuff make that disappear.
And another thing that changed during these years is the open source community. Nowadays, we have a lot of open source model that you can start from it, fine-tune it with your data, and have a really good fine-tuned models. Back to 2020, when we started, I think was just WAF to VEC as open source model, pre-trained. And I don't remember other models. And Nemo from NVIDIA also was open source model. But nowadays, we have a lot of variations of open source models.
And different approaches, right? Encoder only, encoder, decoder, and so on. So that's actually very interesting, because what you're hinting is, especially for a VC-backed company, I think, instead of thinking about, it's not ideal, but like, it's against business wisdom to start with a solution, then find a problem. But in this case, if you have a proprietary data set, or you can figure out, hey, I can get the data set, which of these companies can. It doesn't matter which modality it is. If it's now audio, text, it doesn't matter. Some modality. The more modalities, the better, right? So if you have this, then like take money, because you can build a foundational model out of it for specific industry, right? Even though you don't have a clear use case, maybe it's, I don't know how, not sure how we can deal with this problem. Like, because you start with the day, like with the solution, then finding a problem, which is such a German way to do things. By the way,
you have the data for a problem, so it's not really you start with a solution and find the problem.
There is some problem. Maybe there's other sub problems you can solve with the foundation model. Okay, fine. Which I think I agree with that. It's always some problem, right? Maybe not the problem which will make you big money, but it's
a specific
around it.
Niche problem probably
as you understand more the problem, you find, okay, actually this is the real problem where the money is. For bootstrap founders, don't do it, guys. I spend so much money. The only reason is because of the revenue I could, but it's hard, man. By myself doing all the AI research is by myself. Like, there's no AI research person. It's me. I have employees, but I can't afford an anthropic researcher. I saw now online, like in Zurich, they are stealing AI engineers, and they're paying them up to, like, I don't know, $500,000 or more dollars per year. Yeah, more, even more than that, like 600K.
It's our revenue for entire year.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, I mean, I know I'm stupid. Like, why bothering building foundation models by myself when I could join a big company to build it, and better, because, you know, with resources easier to do it,
And for much more money.
and for much more money. Yeah, but, you know, some people have to be stupid. You guys are smart. Don't be me. Anyway, okay, but for bootstrap founders, this is not, in most cases, attainable and approachable. Like, the golf app is something more realistic, right? Fine.
Yeah, so, or other type of apps. I'm thinking when you told us about the golf app, I was thinking about how about to, I don't know, get image from satellite, identify which household can have a good position for install solar panel, and go and outreach for those households in an automatic way.
Finding potential customers from the physical world.
Yeah. Because the physical world nowadays, it's kind of boring for most of the people. Everyone talk about AI, everyone talk about cloud code, how they web coded, I don't know which whatever app and something like that. But physical world still exists. Physical problems still exist. People still have to live.
People still exist.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that. My brain just gave me random ideas which are totally unethical. And please, what I'm gonna say now, don't do it. You know, whatever. Don't do this. But I was thinking about that, like, about the drug trade. So I was thinking, like, if you have, like, information about, like, social economic information about the city, you know which potential cities are going to get bankrupt soon, you know which cities are going to get poverty, you know which are maybe high income cities, or like higher income cities, which are going to go quickly, which going to have big disparity between the rich and poor, rent price, etc. Can you combine all this data to find potential new drug addicts?
Doesn't sound ethical.
So, because, like, think about it, like, think all of the problems we do for, like, legal businesses, like finding potential customers, dealing with distribution, all of that. But for the criminal activities, like, I mean, let's say you take Waze data, you know where the police is, you can maybe figure out, based on, I don't know, web scraping Waze or whatever, when is the best time to go to bring your drugs from A to B, your delivery, right? All of that stuff, right?
Yeah, this is an untapped market right now.
It's an untapped market. Who knows? Maybe there's black market. There's already, like, some of these apps, right?
From a sold.
But to legal businesses and ethical businesses, okay, I have one more unethical one. So, you know, I showed my grandma sent me lately, like, Facebook posts on, like, obviously AI stuff. Like, you see this, like, I know, obviously AI generated picture of, like, a African kid building an Airbus airplane out of plastic bottles and Coca-Cola cans. And I mean, first of all, I'm not going to tell her that it's actually AI. Like, I'm telling her, no, grandma, it's true, because I want my grandma to not be stressed. Like, I don't want her, I'm not going to tell her the truth. Yeah, actually, that kid who built that plane is actually a slave in some random lithium mine, in order that your phone charges. Like, she will go insane, right? Like, there's anyway, all the news now is anyway negative. It's all AI. Like, these are 5 app prompts you're missing out. And then, you know, all free and pedophiles, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd rather tell, no, grandma, it's true. It's real. Yes, that orphan kid who won the Eurovision, so nice. Humanity restored. So that gave me ideas with elderly care. That was a long segue, right?
Yeah.
Companionship.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
not referring only to like, there's some already companies working on this, like AI voice for like companionship for old elderly. There's some use cases that, and you can go different directions. If you want, you can go unethical as well. I don't know if you remember as a child. Once I stayed late at 12 in the evening, and I saw on the TV, in my cartoon channel in the evening, they were showing like ads of like like a sex hotline, like, oh, do you want to talk with me,
Yeah, I
right? Like,
remember.
oh, I want to hear you. Right? You can have like sexy voice agents for from grandpas, and your you know what your marketing distribution is?
TV.
Newspaper ads.
Hmm.
And TV, a good one. Yeah, you make AI videos. You generate a lot of voices. You charge, I don't know, €1 per hour or per minute, whatever it is. Heck, you can give subscription nowadays, because back then they didn't have subscriptions. You put the subscription based model, and you approach grandpas. Okay, but with the point is, I'm exaggerating these things to give your brain going, but think of a underrepresented, like, as you said, physical businesses, right? Older generations, people who have money. Don't target Gen Z or younger. I mean, your skibidi kid won't have money for
Subscription.
for a subscription, right? Yeah. So, and because anyway, AI adoption is not so big as we expect, right? Like, it's only like blue collar and something like white collar stuff. If you can do something for blue collar, and thinking back and back, okay, how can it be multimodal? It is by definition most of the time multimodal when you work with more physical space. You have something more defendable for a longer time, for sure.
Yeah.
And it can be either bootstrap, if smaller scale, or higher, especially if you have proprietary data, like, I know, let's say real estate data. Pardon me.
Yeah, I agree with you. In my perspective, the strategy that I'm using to find problem to build a product for it, it's to look at my own problems, and this is the mindset that I kind of changed during the years, and I changed it because I saw understanding the problem in a deep way help you to iterate really fast, and this give you an high competitive advantage nowadays when everyone builds in a
Just builds, not solving problems, just building. I built this. Yeah, cool, bro. Great job.
Yeah.
I also built.
And my approach is just simply look at what frustrating me during normal work day. For example, I mentioned LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I have, I don't know, a few product ideas that I can build on.
Share them, by the way. Please share at least one, man. Come on, give something for the.
Of course. But if you stay on LinkedIn, I don't know, maximum 1 week, you will identify at least dozens of problems that you can solve, because on LinkedIn.
Give one. Let's start with one.
First of all, the feed on LinkedIn sucks. The feed on LinkedIn really sucks. Their algorithm, I don't know how works, but it's not really good. So especially in my case, for example, when I sell B2B, I'm interested more in viewing the content of the people that I want to target in order to create engagement with them, in order to understand better what their post, what their opinion about, I don't know, different subject, identify a possible opponent liner in a potential discussion with them. So one idea of the app it's to basically a LinkedIn feed curator. You have specific filters. Also, LinkedIn nowadays it's full of generic ChatGPT LinkedIn posts.
What? No.
With opinions and ideas that are given by ChatGPT, not by the people that post. So
I don't know. I saw that post. It said, "I took a shit here. Free B2B lessons I learned."
yeah, yeah.
And it had a lot of emojis. I think it's real, right?
Yeah, so one of the app that I am thinking about building, it's a LinkedIn feed creator, when you can first of all set just the specific people to view their post, so people that you want to create engagement with them, and secondly to have different filter, identify if a post it's AI written, or identify a category of the post, topic of the post, or something like that. So basically have some filter
The
options.
sales navigator sucks so much that they don't even have like the social like engaging, trying to get attention of like,
the sales
hey, single B2B ready to mingle.
Yeah, also I can build another idea of the app is to build on top of Sales Navigator, because for example on Sales Navigator I search for one of our for ICP, it's media monitoring companies. I search for different keyword from this type of customers, like media monitoring. It's one of the obvious keywords. But in this search, I have a lot of false positive results from other companies that randomly mention media monitoring in I don't know which description, which post, or whatever. So basically, the results are just based on okay, you are looking for specific keyword. If the company mentioned this keyword in whatever post, I'll return you this company. But the company, most probably in a lot of situations, they don't have something to do with these topics. So another idea of the app is to build on this LinkedIn Sales Navigator and help people to curate faster the companies they're looking
It's not
for.
a defendable business, because anytime LinkedIn will be like, oh, cool idea, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
But it's at least still does mean you cannot make money.
Yeah, but the idea, it's simple. Look at the problems that you have every day, because probably few of your problems are the problems that a lot of other people have.
I agree on that one. Okay, I guess let's go with two more ideas, and then we let our listeners go. Or they can leave by themselves, not like we're stopping them. If you're listening to this right now, you can leave anytime. Just, if you're annoying you have free will. For business ideas, I was thinking about city planning. So there are various things you can do there. I'll say one specific. So I see the trend, like what are these big companies building? OpenAI, Google, etc. build world models, which basically they can simulate the world. The purpose of these models is quite simple. Like you maybe seen those demos where you can move in the world, like you say, oh, Lego Batman, and he's running away from a monster, and you can actually move Batman. So it's not like one picture, it's like an animated thing, because it has a state, and you can change the state based on your interaction. And the purpose of those models is that you can actually simulate anything in order to create any kind of training data. So even if the AI doesn't know what it is, you can generate it, and it can then learn from that. That's kind of the idea of these world models, the long term, right? Reinforcement learning and so on. And I was thinking about city planning, something similar. What are the effects of certain changes? So there are a lot of ways to calculate, let's say, temperature, right? Like, if you put trees, how is the temperature of the asphalt, etc. When you put that building there, how would the shadow cast? Like, you can do basically all of these things are not something you need. They're complicated to simulate. Actually, they're relatively easy. Like if you have like a 3D model and you have some MCP connected to Blender, for example, all of those things can be simulated with code easily. Because it's Python, actually. One random thing, Blender supports Python as code, so super compatibility. And the point of this is that if you want to make changes in the city, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to make a bridge or something like this, what will be the effect of it? Like on all the various things you care about the city. like noise, etc. All of these things. And there's no real nice, there are some civil engineering tools, nothing great. Also, there was something which had potential, but it was bought by Adobe and they just let it die. I hope Adobe dies as well. Not the people, but the company. Though, if you want to buy me Adobe, your friends, look, man,
the best algorithm for the cleaning.
Yeah. If like I told the story, Adobe failed to buy me once for my first company, so they have it again. We can fix our relationships. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so where was I with civil engineering? Yeah. So a lot of even if you don't have proprietary data, if you can simulate it, that's good enough, because that's the same thing I had in the data. Now, Google, OpenAI, they're all rushing to build these world models, to build AI it's required if you want to build an AGI, like a real AGI. But until then, you can find problems, and a lot of the problems cannot be solved because there's nobody really solving that problem, because there's no data, etc. And there's a real need where just nobody is doing it. And that can be easily detected. But just talk with people. If you have your own problem, perfect. But let's say I don't have my own problem. That's why I'm mentioning this. Talk with domain experts in various domains. And if you talk with them, you realize they have problems which can be solved. And this, what I'm saying, is vibe codable. It will not be perfect in the beginning, but you can do a lot of it without understanding a lot of the math. The ChatGPT can help you figure this out. You can even find research papers to find the easy way to simulate that particular thing. So I have numbers. Because so first start with your idea if you have, right? If you don't, talk with people, get domain expertise. You will find a gold in these niches, and most likely these problems are multimodal, require either custom data, if not custom data, something you can simulate, and that with ChatGPT won't be able to replace that for now. That's basically what I kind of tried to say in this whole story.
Yeah. And a lot of people probably will ask why I have to start in a niche when I can start generally. This is the questions.
The more general you are, the more money you need. Basically, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah.
Find me something which is general and the business costs only $10 to start.
Yeah.
Maybe gastronomy. Right? Yes, like hot dog, we got hot dog. Right.
Yeah.
But that's about it, I guess.
Yeah. And starting in a niche will give you an advantage to better understand the problem that you solve. So basically, you'll go through a process. Start in a niche, understand the problem, understand better and better the problem, expand in another niche, replicate the process
just solve it once, you don't need our help anymore. If you did it once already, the rest is for the second one,
Yeah.
Like if when your first time, man, why I'm gonna get cancelled, Adrian, before I even gonna sell my company. Here, let me tell you. So I went to the park, and there were these two teenagers, and they were kissing. Man, I know I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay, fine. Too late. So let's say I'm the guy, right? And this is the boy. So first time when you kiss, you learn, kissing from anime or from your mother. So they were kissing like this together. Like like birds, like
yeah.
like it wasn't kissing, we're like peeking each other, like, right? And they were intensely like rather. So that you start with that, and then later, you gain domain knowledge.
Yeah.
You find maybe a girl who'll teach you properly, like, boy, you can't kiss. Let me teach you, right?
Yeah.
Either domain knowledge through experience, which is great, right? You learn, you learn
Practice.
directly from a domain expert, or you learn through maybe just checking Reddit, like figure out community. This will be the equivalent of seeing movies, and you see the romantic scene, like j'adore d'amour, and like blah, blah, right? Yeah. So that's a very way to Nah, this wasn't this
Yeah.
wasn't good, man.
Yeah, I understand
But there's understand the business lesson which I'm trying to give you.
yeah. This is applicable in the business as well. It is the same process.
It's the same process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's enough bullshit for today. No, this last part was a bit bullshit. I think there was a lot of valuable things. If you have any questions about AI, building foundational models, getting proprietary data, not getting, but creating a proprietary data set for better use cases, hit us up on LinkedIn or in the comments. And any final closing words to our listeners?
Just try to build something.
I don't like that advice. Building only without just solve problems.
Solve problems.
Solve. Okay. Bye-bye.